think I'm taking YouTube more seriously than I planned. Well, when you put it all in one place like this, it does start to look a little bit ridiculous. Every item on this bed is something I've bought because of travel, filming, YouTube, or some combination of all three. The funny thing is, none of this was planned. When I first started exploring, I started out with just a simple iPhone, I think 5S at the time. I had one of these, smaller, for the 5S. That was the extent of my filming equipment. And that's when I went to Thailand. And yeah, YouTube was the last thing on my mind. I hadn't even thought about doing YouTube. I was posting things to Facebook and to Snapchat, and that was purely for my friends and family to see. Then in 2021, I decided that I wanted to upgrade my phone, and I upgraded to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. But again, this is all I took with me. I had this, and I still have one of these. This is more up to date. And again, YouTube was far from my plans at that time. I was still just posting to social media, Facebook and Instagram. Then in 2023, I thought about using YouTube, and initially the idea was to post longer videos for my friends and family to watch, to get better experience of my trips. I got myself a action camera and all the equipment that comes with it. Also got my first selfie stick. But I still had my phone, iPhone 13, and that was it. No, a couple of power banks as well. But that was my kit. In 2025, I decided I wanted to upgrade some more and have more equipment to improve my videos on my trip. I got myself a Nido along with the FPV goggles, controller, extra batteries, and an improved tripod, which I'm filming using now. And that was the extent of my equipment, along with the existing action camera. But again, I had that, my action camera, and my iPhone 13. This year, I've decided that YouTube is going to be a priority, and instantly you can sort of see it encompasses everything. This is the stuff I've built up. First purchase was the MacBook. I then got myself a microphone, which plugs into the bottom of your phone. But still, after a few films, I realised that I needed more. So I upgraded to the DJI Mini mic, and I also got myself a iPhone 17 Pro Max, which I'm filming on now, and this selfie stick to use for that. This is to store additional photos because I keep maxing out my iCloud, and I refuse to pay the extra cost for an iCloud. And then for studio filming, I've got these lights and some additional mood lighting. There will be more purchases to come, so I am seriously considering getting the DJI Pocket 3, as well as the DJI Action 4, and probably a mic too, the DJI mic 2. So these are purchases yet to come, and I'm sure there'll be more. One question I've been asking myself a lot recently is, why am I actually doing this? Because if we're being honest, this would all be a lot easier if I wasn't. I could save money, I could save time, I could just go on holiday, enjoy myself, and come home again. So why am I spending evenings editing videos and weekends talking to a camera? I think the answer starts with travel. Back in 2019, I went to Thailand for the first time, and something changed. Not overnight, not dramatically, but I noticed that when I travelled, I became a different version of myself. More confident, more outgoing, more willing to talk to strangers, more willing to try things that normally I'd never even consider. It's difficult to explain, but the version of me that exists when I'm travelling feels different to the version that exists back home. And every time I come back to the UK, eventually life returns to normal. Work, routine, the same roads, the same days. Now don't get me wrong, I don't hate my job. I've been there 11 years. It's paid well. It's enabled me to travel. And there are plenty of people who would be happy to be in my position. But recently I found myself feeling a bit disillusioned. I've applied for opportunities, I've come close a few times, but not quite got there. And it feels like the things that got you ahead years ago aren't necessarily the things that get you ahead now. Like experience, loyalty, time served. Sometimes they don't seem to count for as much as you think they should. And I think that made me start to question something bigger. Not whether I wanted a promotion, but whether I wanted the same path at all. Because if I got the next promotion, would that really solve the problem? Or would I just be doing the same thing in a slightly different chair? And that's where YouTube comes in. Before every trip, I watch travel creators. I watch videos about destinations, hotels, transport, things to do, places to avoid. Creators have genuinely helped shape almost every major trip I've taken. And over time, I started noticing something. These people have built lives that looked very different to mine. Not perfect, not easy, but different. People like Marco Rose, people like Paddy Doyle. People have managed to turn travel into something bigger. Now, am I expecting to become the next Marco Rose? No, let's all stay grounded. But seeing people build a life around travel gave me something I hadn't really had before. Hope that maybe there was another option. Because the truth is, I don't dream about being a YouTuber. I dream about freedom. The freedom to travel more. The freedom to spend more time in places I love. The freedom to decide where I live and how I spend my time. And YouTube just happens to be the vehicle I've chosen to try and get there. Will it work? Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. Now let's talk about reality. Because at this point, some of you are probably thinking, this sounds suspiciously like a midlife crisis. And honestly, you're not entirely wrong. The reality is this channel currently has 131 subscribers. And most of my audience comes from the UK, the United States, and the Philippines, which still amazes me, because the idea that somebody in another country is watching videos from a bloke sat in Peterborough talking about travel feels slightly bizarre. What's even more interesting is that around 89% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So if you're one of those people who keeps watching but hasn't subscribed, this is your subtle reminder. And by subtle, I mean not subtle at all. Now, when I talk about success, I'm not talking about becoming the next Mr. Beast. I'm not talking about becoming the next Sidemen. I don't need millions of subscribers. I don't need private jets. I don't need Lamborghinis. Frankly, I'd settle for being able to afford airport food without checking the prices first. For me, success is much simpler. Success means travel more. Success means having more freedom. Success means building something that belongs to me. And maybe one day, earning enough from it to spend more time exploring the world. The reality is that none of this is free. A lot of this gear wasn't bought because I suddenly became wealthy. I've been doing overtime. Sometimes 7 extra hours a week. Sometimes 15. Working extra hours to pay for cameras, trips, equipment, software. And the strange thing is, I'm working more than ever in the hope that one day I might not have to. Now looking ahead, November feels important. I've got Beijing planned. I want to visit the Great Wall. I want to see some pandas. Then off to the Philippines. Trip from El Nido to Coron. Go visit the oldest tattooist in the Philippines, Apo Whang-Od, and hopefully a lot more. This is the first trip where I'm genuinely trying to create content rather than simply record memories. And there's one thing that I'd really love to do. I've not told my mum about this yet. I've always wanted to scuba dive with Thresher sharks in the Philippines. Sorry, Mum. The problem is it's expensive. It requires training, and it's probably not the most sensible thing I've ever considered. So here's the deal. If this channel somehow reaches 1,000 subscribers before I leave in November, I'll make it happen. No excuses. I'll do the training, I'll do the dives, and I'll bring you all along for the experience. The truth is, most YouTube channels fail. Most people quit. Most people never get very far. And maybe this channel never becomes anything more than a hobby. Maybe a year from now I will still be sat on this sofa talking to the same small audience. Or maybe I'll be filming somewhere in Asia, wondering why I ever doubted myself. The truth is, I don't know. What I do know is that after 11 years of following one path, this is the first thing in a very long time that genuinely made me excited about the future. And that's probably a reason enough to keep going. Anyway, if this all goes horribly wrong, at least I have some decent holiday videos.